few months ago, I had the opportunity to attend the Iraq Veteran 8888 YouTube Range Day down in South Georgia. And my friend Rick Ward from the Urban Air Gunner channel introduced me to a guy from Powertac Flashlights. And he was kind enough to send me home with a couple of flashlights. Today we're going to take a look at a really cool, very kind of a different headlamp that I've not seen before, the Explorer HL-10. That's what's coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose, your home for information and gear reviews related to camping, survival, and general preparedness for regular folks. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me. So first of all, let me apologize. I am fighting a cold, just really something. I don't know, man. My throat is bothering me. My head's stopped up, and I'm just got the general funk. So please forgive me, but you know, as they say, the show must go on. So I'm out here at the old worldwide headquarters trying to make a video for you, and maybe, just maybe, the dogs next door will chill for a little while because I can't out talk them today. So anyway, as I said, the folks at Powertac were kind enough to send me home with a couple of flashlights from the IV 8888 Range Day. Now, when Rick Ward, who by the way has the Urban Air Gunner channel, if you haven't seen that, I highly encourage you to check it out. He does a great job. He's also a top-notch rodeo announcer too, so that's pretty cool. But anyway, when he introduced me to the folks at Powertac, I thought, you know what? I've seen so many different flashlights. You know, what could be different about this one? So they actually showed me this. It's in this little case, this headlamp that we're going to bust open in just a minute. And it really is different. I've not seen anything like it, and I thought you might be interested in it. So we're going to take you down to the old stump top and take a look at that right after this word from one of our sponsors. This video is sponsored by my friends at clickbelts.com, where you can save 15% by using the coupon code SOP15 at checkout. ClickBelts feature genuine Cobra buckles. They have a full lifetime warranty, and they are sewn right here in the USA in the great state of Texas. And they have some of the best customer service I've ever seen. So if you're looking for a very strong, very cool belt, I encourage you to check out the folks at clickbelts.com. Don't forget, use the coupon code SOP15 to save 15%. Okay, we are back. And before we get down to the old stump top, I want to make a quick detour, a little side ramble. You know me, right? So as I make this video today, it is the final day for my email subscriber only giveaway, which somebody's going to win this nice, cool Buck 119 knife we took a look at a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to keep it nice and pristine because I was doing this giveaways. And by the way, if you weren't already a subscriber as of last week, then it's too late for you to enter this contest. But I started a weekly email newsletter at survivalonpurpose.com/subscribe, where every week I send out an email with all the previous week's videos, just in case YouTube doesn't let you know about them, and you know, news, offers, and deals, and anything I think you might be interested in. And we're going to start doing some special stuff like this. I don't know if we're not going to do it every week or maybe even every month, but if you subscribe to the email newsletter, you'll find out when we do it. And I'm going to try to do some cool stuff like that, just to kind of reward you for trusting me with your email address. It'll also, by the way, give me a chance just kind of to let you know about any upcoming stuff that maybe doesn't quite fit the YouTube format. Anyway, if you did enter into this contest and you did submit your entry, I'm going to be drawing the winner. Actually, today as this video comes out, so that'll be Saturday, January the 11th. So I'll let you know if you win. Okay, now let's get down to the old stump top and get to doing some of that headlamp stuff, if my voice will hold out. Okay, so here is the Powertac Explorer HL-10. Comes in this little plastic carry case with nothing fancy, but just a little plastic case. And then you open it up. It's got some padding in here and got a little instruction booklet in there and a couple stickers in there. But I'll show you what is in the case itself, and then we'll talk about the components. So first of all, you got your headlamp. You got your charging cable, which is magnetic, by the way. We'll talk about that. You've got your headband, which if you're familiar with the GoPro, you'll see this matches our standard like GoPro style mount. Here's the little nut that goes in it, and there you go. First, we'll talk about the headlamp itself. First thing you notice is there's two different lenses and two different control buttons, which I think is pretty cool, and I'll explain that to you as we go. So I think when my neighbor goes to buy a new dog, his first question is, can it bark indefinitely? Let's talk about the dimensions of this thing first. As you can see, this is not a little tiny ultralight headlamp. This thing is 2 3/8 inches long. For those of you who are still stuck in that old metric system, and I know you'll let me know because you always do, that's 60 millimeters by about 7/8 inches thick this way, which is 22 millimeters. From top to bottom here is 2 inches high, about 2 inches high. And when you mount it on the mount, it gives you altogether about 2 5/8 inches. Which, by the way, that's 50.8 millimeters this way, 66.6 this way. And the weight of this thing, just the headlamp itself with the battery, it's about 5.6 ounces or 159 grams. And the weight of everything with the battery, the headlamp, the whole setup weighs about 8.3 ounces or 235 grams. So there's that. So before we talk about the features of this light, let me just show you the rest of the stuff here real quickly. It features a magnetic charging and just a USB on one side, and a little magnetic connector on the other. And then it just goes right there like that. It kind of plugs in. And it holds on. It holds on pretty good. There's a little bit of the center protrudes just a little bit, if you can see that. So it does kind of snap into there. But kind of like we talked about on the Casio watch that I'm wearing right here, the magnetic function is really easy to get pulled off of there. It's not a very big magnet. You can see how small it is, and it just kind of if you bump this thing around, it's liable to come off. It comes off pretty easy, but if you don't bump it around, it charges just fine. So there's that. And when you put it on, the way you put it on the headband is you just stick it in there like so. You take your little adjustment screw here, and there it is. So once you get it in there, that allows you to adjust this thing to a range of movement, and then when you get it where you want it, you can just tighten it up, just like a GoPro. It's really about the size of a GoPro's. Okay, so let's talk about the light levels. One thing I think is cool is whichever lens you want to use, you want to use the focused or the diffused, you push the button on top of it, and then use the other button to control it. So there's not a bunch of double clicking and holding down and all that. So the focus level has 4 different light levels. So let's just cycle through there and see what we got. So that's the low. That is 20 lumens. It's good for about 3.5 days. The next level up, you push the other button, is 300 lumens, good for 4.9 hours. Next one is 1180, good for 1.6 hours. And then finally, the turbo is 2500 lumens, good for 1.5 hours. Okay, it also has a strobe feature, so if that bothers you, just watch your eyes for a minute. But if you click the button on top of the lens you're using, you go double click it, it goes straight to strobe. And then if you click it again, it goes off. And if you just hold it down, long press it, it goes to SOS, which I like me some SOS. So that's the focus beam. The other side is the diffused or flood. And it's pretty cool because it has a feature that I've not seen on any of the other headlights. And it has 3 different light colors. So we'll turn it on, and you can see we have the white light. That white light is 150 lumens. It's good for 6.4 hours. And if you want a strobe, you just double click it. Here comes the strobe. And that strobe is going to be good for 12.8 hours. If you just hold it down, long press it, it goes to SOS, which is pretty cool. So that's the white. But what if you don't want some white? Well, click it on. Click the other button one time, it goes to red. The red is 650 nm. I'm not really sure what that means, but that's the brightness level. Same thing there. If you want it to go to strobe, you just double click it. And if you want it to go to SOS, you just hold it down. I like the SOS. And the strobe or SOS are both 14 hours. And then finally, this is what's cool. You press the other button again, it blocks it back out of the strobe. But if you press it again, it's going to change modes. And I don't know if you can even see that. Can you see that up in there? It is infrared. You can't really see it. There's a little red dot in there. I don't know if you can see it or not. But if that's pretty cool. If somebody's using infrared night vision, or that allows you to see it. So it allows you to see with infrared night vision. And that's 850 nm. I think that's nanometers. I'm not sure. Maybe that's the wavelength. That's good for 9 3/4 hours. And same thing there. You can have an infrared strobe. You're not going to be able to see it anyway, but it's strobing. Or you can hold it down and have an infrared SOS. Both of those are good for about 19.5 hours. Bottom line, I have a really great talent to making things more complicated than they need to be. Whichever lens you want to use, you press that one time, and you control the levels and settings with the other button, except for the strobe and SOS, which you control with that button on top of the lens itself. Now it is IPX7 water resistant, it's drop rated, all that good stuff. Very, very well made. You can tell it just looks like quality. It uses an 18650 battery, and that's it. So let's get to the night shots, and we'll come back and wrap this up. Okay, let's do some close-up first. Here's the focus beam, and here's the low level at 20 lumens. Next level up is 300 lumens. Then we're going to go to the 1180 lumens, and then finally to the 2500 lumens. Right there it is. Okay, let's try the flood or diffused, and we're about 10 feet from the bench there. There's the 150 lumens flood and the red, which is again 625 nm. And as you can see, this is a very bright red light, so it should still help protect your night vision, but actually gives you a higher level of light, more usable than a lot of the red light headlamps I'm familiar with. And I guess there's really no sense in showing you the infrared. Okay, let me point you towards the old outdoor studio here, and that's the 20 lumens about 10-15 feet in front of us. And you can see as we go out further, it doesn't do a real good job on the distance. Go up to 300 lumens, it's getting a little brighter. And you can see the camera's just not doing it justice, but it really spreads out more than that. Let's kick it up to 1180 lumens, and you can see now finally it's starting to throw some photons out there. Does a pretty good job of lighting everything up back there. And finally up to 2500 lumens, and it really does light up the old outdoor studio. Okay, let me show you what it looks like shining at you from about 75 feet away. So there's the 20 lumens. And there's 300. I'm going to have to wave it around like I'll let you hopefully get a little better glimpse of what it's doing. And then next level is going to be 1180. Bam. And you can see it's starting to throw some more light out there. Finally, 2500 lumens. Got a little strobe alert. Here's the strobe and the SOS, which both are default at 2500 lumens. Okay, here is the 150 lumen floodlight diffused and the SOS feature on white light. And here's the red light and the red light on SOS. Okay, well that was the night shots of the Powertac Explorer HL-10, and hopefully my camera did a good enough job of kind of showing you what's going on here. But so let's talk about the pros and the cons. There's a couple things I really like about this headlamp, a couple things that I think maybe some room for improvement, so to speak. So let me just take it off and show you. Actually I'll leave it on and show you. So first of all, I really like the fact that you have two lenses and two buttons. So not a lot of swapping around, not a lot of figuring out. If you want the focus beam, you reach up here with your left hand and click it one time and you got your focus beam. I don't want to shine it right in your eyeballs. I get on Boy Scouts for doing that all the time. So if I'm backpacking, I've got it set to the level I want, and by the way, the memory lets me turn it off, turn it back on, comes back to the same level. I like that. I get to camp or I'm trying to look at my maps and don't want to destroy my night vision, I can just click right up here, click this one, have it set to red, or I can go to the white floodlight. But I like the red for this one, and it's really, really simple to use. I really like the fact that it has an SOS feature. You know I like that. Either bright white light or the red. So as a scout leader and interested in preparedness, I think that's a good feature to have. I like the fact that it's so robust and well made. I also like the way this headlamp is. It's very, very wide. It's got some little rubbery on the inside, rubbery strips, I guess, to kind of help it to grip your head and not slide around. I like the fact that it's got this over the top strap, so it kind of helps support it, so you don't really have to have the one going around your head so tight that you have a headache, but it's not going to flop all around anywhere because it's not a super light headlamp. Again, 5.5 ounces, about 8 ounces altogether, so not bad there. A couple of areas I see that are potential places they can do a little improvement is, I'm not really fond of this GoPro style mount, the way it works, because the knob for the mount is so close to the body of the flashlight that it's just really hard for me to get enough tension, enough leverage on it to secure it very tightly. As you saw it flopping down a couple times a minute ago because I didn't have it real tight. I can do it, but it hurts my fingers. So there's that. I think that's probably a little room for improvement. And speaking of the body of the flashlight, the other thing I think could be maybe improved is this is a screwdriver slot. This thing uses 18650 batteries, like I said, but to change those, you have to get a screwdriver in there and open it up, because you would think this would be a screw-on knob, but it's not. So I think that is potentially it just means you got to have a screwdriver, a tool. If you've got your Swiss Army knife with you, or a multi-tool, it's not a big deal. But if they could just create that thing to screw on there, I think it might be a little simpler. And then finally, the only other thing that the potential for improvement, I think, maybe is, and the same thing, I said the same thing about this watch, the Casio, the watch you got here, is the battery connection just doesn't, it connects and it does pretty positive, but it seems it's just a little easy to knock off. So if you're trying to charge this like in your car, bouncing down a dirt road, it flops around a little bit, it might come loose. But that's pretty much it altogether. I got to say, I really like this. I had not seen The infrared, I really, as a civilian, don't really have a lot of use for infrared right now, but it's handy to have. And if you were in a situation where maybe you needed to be rescued by somebody, military type personnel, it could come in handy. Or if you got an infrared scope or something like that. I just don't have one. But altogether, this thing performs very, very well, and it's very, very well made. Finally, one more thing. This is not a low budget headlamp. This thing's about 125 bucks on Amazon, so it's a serious headlamp for serious users. So, and if that's you, I hope this has been helpful, and I'll put a link in the description below where you can go check it out yourself. So anyway, it's been a hopefully not too rambling and not too froggy a look at a new flashlight company on the channel. So anyway, thanks again to the folks at Powertac for sending me home with this so I can play with it and show it to you. And as always, thank you for watching Survival on Purpose. I put out a new video every Friday and every Saturday. And don't forget to sign up for my weekly email newsletter at survivalonpurpose.com/subscribe. I really appreciate your support. Once again, my name's Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.